Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime, episode 101.
Yes. Anyone that has missed episode 100, it's posted on my YouTube. It's posted on factdate.com.
We've shared it on Facebook.
Not Twitter. Facebook. Twitter I don't do with this, but anyway.
Did Gory Storytime get a hold of that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
They did that too? Good.
So you can find it many places. It is completely uncensored. We roast each other. There's a bunch of stuff. It was pretty fun to do. There's old sketches that we had done. There's fake commercials. There's a new game show that we came up with the concept for.
Yep.
So, there's a book I wrote for children. All sorts of fun.
And we will review it ourselves.
But it is rated TV MA, so please, watch at your own risk.
Like most of our episodes.
But now that we're done with that,
as soon as we're done with the first 100, we start right off with STDs.
It follows. The basic premise, I would say, is there's a demon or spirit or something evil that wants to kill that gets passed to one another through intercourse. So it's basically demonic AIDS.
Right.
That's the basic premise without spoiling anything. Before we get too far into it, though, we usually play the trailer so they know what we're talking about. So, Colin?
To the trailer.
I used to daydream about being old enough to go on dates. I had this image of myself holding hands with a really cute guy, driving along some pretty road. It's never about going anywhere, really. It's having some sort of freedom, I guess.
Jay, you awake?
What are you doing?
You're not gonna believe me, and I need you to remember what I'm saying. This thing, it's gonna follow you. Somebody gave it to me, and I passed it to you. Wherever you are, it's somewhere walking straight for you. All you can do is pass it along to someone else.
I'm scared. I need to find him.
What did he really do to you?
Apparently he used a fake name to rent a house in the city.
This isn't real, I swear to you, this is just some game.
If it kills her, it gets me and goes straight down the line to whoever started it.
What exactly is supposed to be following you?
I don't know.
Something happened. It's not what she thinks, okay?
You don't believe me. Mom?
No, it's me.
Everything's okay.
It could look like someone you know, or it could be a stranger in a crowd. Whatever helps it get close to you.
That'd be the great name.
Well, you were.
All right. Now, before we get into the...
meat and beef of the show.
Anyway, love that phrase. Anyway, we got to give a shout out to our real sponsors, the folks that help keep, this show rolling. Keeps our pockets fat with stacks of cash. Don't put that in quotes. If there's, pretty ladies watching, I'd like them to think I have fat stacks of cash. That way when I turn them down because I'm not single, they feel bad. Anyway. Yeah, like that's going to happen. So this week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by Religious Horror Flicks. In a world of messages hidden throughout horror movies, a group of Christians have made remakes of all of your favorite horror films with a biblical twist. Some titles include I Know What You Did Last Supper, Jeepers Preachers, Night of the Risen Dead, Silence of the Lamb of God, and of course, Good Friday the 13th. So visit religiousHorrorFlix.com for more info today. Also by...
And by Supernatural Condoms. Supernatural Condoms are nothing. Are so thin.
That's a very different thing.
They are nothing. No. Are so thin, they feel like you're not wearing one at all, yet protects you from STDs, pregnancy, and a wide assortment of evil beasts like werewolves, zombies, vampires, demons, and girls on the rag. So here at Gory Storytime, we recommend Supernatural Condoms. Put one on before you get it on.
All right. Well, now that we've done that, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. Some of the behind-the-scenes info. According to the production company, the film's budget was $1.3 million and was shot entirely in the state of Michigan for tax advantages. A year after it was released, it grossed over $20 million.
Huh. That's a lot of money.
More about that comes up later in these facts.
Wait, which part is the front?
This one.
Okay. The theater featured at the beginning of the film is the Redford Theater, a historic Japanese-style theater with a fully functioning Wurlitzer organ?
Yeah.
In the old Redford neighborhood of Detroit, Michigan. The Evil Dead premiered there. Oh.
The time frame of the movie is intentionally kept ambiguous so that it resembles a dream. Some of the cars are shown for more recent times. Many appear to be from the 60s to late 80s. Early CRT television sets are shown whenever characters are watching movies. Conflicting technology includes Yara on a device that looks like a Shell Compact, but she reads it like an ebook reader and uses it as a light source at one point. Also, the girl from the beginning of the film uses a cell phone and drives a modern automobile with several modern vehicles in view.
I feel like that was just a mistake and they said, oh no, that was on purpose after the fact.
Anyway.
Yep. The dilapidated house that Hugh hid out in and that Jay and her friends explored is a house style called the American Foursquare. This style was popular in the 1890s and the 1930s.
Through the 1930s.
Well, through the 1930s. Many floor plans for the Foursquare feature circular traffic patterns where...
I think it's supposed to be patterns.
Okay, patterns. Where one can proceed through several rooms and return to the starting point without ever reversing the path. Kitchen, vestibule, living room, dining room, and kitchen, for instance.
Like, because you...
Right. In some homes, adjoining bedrooms, shared closets, and bathrooms. This kind of fluid floor plan would make this style of house particularly desirable if an escape from it was needed.
Jay and Kelly's mother's face is never clearly shown. In the first scene in which she appears in the film, she's seen talking on the phone in the kitchen with her face completely covered by her hair. In every other scene, her face is either out of focus or partially cut by the frame.
Didn't even notice that. David Robert Mitchell has cited the works of George A. Romero and John Carpenter as major influences on this film, on his style of filming and creative decisions on It Follows.
The monstrous It is often said to be a metaphor for sexually transmitted diseases and sexual promiscuity. When asked about the film's concept, director David Robert Mitchell states, "The basic idea being followed by something that looks like different people, that was slow and always coming back to you and coming at you, was a recurring nightmare I had as a kid. As an adult, I added the sexual part to this terrible thing. It came at two different points in my life."
This was shot mainly on with wide-angle lenses to give the film a more expansive and intimidating feel.
The poem that Jay's English teacher reads out loud is T.S. Eliot's The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Prufrock? I don't know. The poem seems to share some commonalities with the film, which is why we chose it.
Following overwhelmingly positive first weekend receptions from critics and audiences, the film's originally planned VOD/theatrical release was canceled in favor of a theatrical-only release.
Not only do the set props prevent the viewer from placing the year, the clothing prevents the viewer from placing the time of year. Throughout the film's short duration, clothing ranges from coats, jackets, t-shirts, and swimsuits during the day to barely anything at night, all outdoors with no sign of discomfort.
Jay is short for Jamie, a tribute to Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis. In the film, Jay has a sister named Kelly. Jamie Lee Curtis also has a sister named Kelly.
Which is ironic because last night we were watching Halloween again.
And this weekend I'm going to see the new one.
Disaster Piece recorded the score for the film because the director, David Robert Mitchell, was a huge fan of the video game Fez, which Disaster Piece did the music for.
Fez? The director, David Robert Mitchell, said in an interview that the monster could potentially board a plane in order to follow the cursed person.
The entire score by Rich Vreeland, Disaster Piece, was completed in less than 3 weeks.
The film takes inspiration from several horror films and their tropes from the 60s to the 80s, especially from the slasher classic Halloween. The girl in the opening scene of the film was named Annie, and one of Laurie's friends in Halloween was Annie Brackett.
The film alludes to teenage problems through the props. This is seen when Jay is lining up blades of grass on her upper leg, cutting suicide, as well as Jay's uneaten tray of food in her room, eating disorders. The first had a pill laid out on a napkin, and later it's the only thing touched from the tray, drug dependency.
Yeek. Yara reads out a section from Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel, The Idiot, which sums up the
Way you pronounce that?
which sums up but here I should imagine the most terrible part of the whole punishment is not the bodily pain at all, but the certain knowledge that in an hour, then in 10 minutes, then half a minute, then now, this very instant, your soul must quit your body, and that you will no longer be a man, and that this is certain.
Glad they made you read the actual passage. The film initially recouped its minuscule budget 5 times over with a $10 million worldwide take. As of 2016, it's ballooned to over $20 million worldwide. VOD and DVD, and
Right.
STD and HBO and PBS and PMS and
AIDS.
anyway.
Okay. One of the old movies the kids are watching on TV, which stars young Peter Graves and has a character... stars Peter Graves and has a character with large eyes, is Killers from Space from 1954.
All right, now let's discuss the opinions we have on it. Do you want to go first or me as far as favorite scenes?
You can.
All right. I would say my favorite scene is the very first scene, actually. it gives it a good like start to the movie. Shows a girl on the beach crying, saying how sorry she is to her father. And the next time you see her in the morning, she's dead with bones broken, and it just sets you up to go, oh, what happened? You know?
Right.
I like movies that they jump right in sometimes. Sometimes I like a movie like Aliens where it takes an hour before you see an alien and it's just all about mood. But this one, it worked well to just go,
Show
okay,
you what's going
here's
on.
some stuff.
Right. My favorite scene was one of the last ones
Okay.
because one of the friends took the demon from whoever it was that had it, the girl, I forget her name, but took it and went to a prostitute and gave it to the prostitute, because I just think it's amazing that they thought to give it to somebody who is definitely not going to be able to keep it, because that's kind of the job they have.
Right. Well, that leads me into my least favorite scene, which is that. Because the whole thing is the next person they have sex with, it attaches to. And once it kills that person, it comes back. So basically, no matter who they picked, they were basically guaranteeing they would get killed too, A. And B, it's not like giving it to the prostitute means everyone she slept with. It just means
Right.
like 10 minutes later, she gave it to someone else, and that's going to guarantee both of their deaths. You know what I mean? And they're not going to know that the thing's coming after them because they had sex. So they're going to die quick, and it's going to come right back to you almost immediately. It probably would be within days that it's hunting you down again. You didn't do jack to get rid of it.
Except I don't see, because prostitutes have sex. That's the thing they do.
Right.
So even if it were to go and kill the person that they had sex with, they would keep having sex and keep getting rid of it. So it would just be this endless cycle of...
I don't think once you've got rid of it, I don't think it comes back to you, that it just comes back to kill you. I don't think having sex a second time gets rid of it, does it?
They didn't say no.
Right. Well, so you're making an assumption, and I just don't think it would take long for him to be under attack by this thing again. But whatever.
Whatever.
What was your least favorite? 'Cause
My least favorite was, and this may seem a little contradictory because I like this about zombies, but they didn't explain why or how this started or who this started with. It just, like you said, threw us in the middle and didn't really explain anything until a little after. And even then they didn't explain what it was really, why it happened or how it started or what it is.
Okay. I mean, personally, I think that that leaves it open for sequels to try to get into a backstory or whatever. But
See, but that's also an issue because, see, with like the first two Halloween movies, that opened it up for the idea of the curse of Michael Myers. No.
okay.
So we don't need the idea of leaving it open. You set a ground, you set a basis. Everybody follows that. That's what happened. So people can't go and ruin a good, amazing story. I love this movie.
All right. Well,
Which leads us into our ratings.
before that, the ratings that the critics and the people have it on Rotten Tomatoes.
The people,
The people have it at 66%.
which is not the greatest, but still a passing grade, right?
It's over half.
Over half. And the critics have it at 97.
Which means that they felt like, I think they were rating it higher based on a message more than on the film itself.
Kind of like with Get Out.
Yeah. Now, Get Out's a great movie. But
is it
if
really
it didn't
a
have that,
99?
well, if it didn't have that message in it, would it have gotten that higher rating? Or did that give it a boost that has nothing whatsoever to do with the film itself?
Right.
It has to do with people's personal beliefs in politics. I
it
know
was
it's
still
hard.
amazing
It's
movie,
hard not
but-
to have that like affect your opinion of things. But
But at the same time,
if you're just
it's
supposed to
just a
review it
movie.
as a horror movie, you
Right.
should review it as a horror movie and not let your personal thoughts come into it. I can watch a horror movie that goes against my personal beliefs, and I'm fine as long as it's good.
Okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate this movie?
I'd give it probably a 7.5. I mean, it's, it's definitely worth a watch. It's good enough where if the sequel happens that they're talking about, I'll probably watch that too without any whining.
Right.
But I mean, I
wonder what they're gonna call it. It Returns.
It's still following. I don't know.
Look who's following.
It follows
now.
me on Twitter.
Look who's following now. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it an 8.
Okay.
Simply because it seems, at least from all the things I've seen, it's a very original idea. I've never.
I mean, they took a very old idea and added one social justice-y, safe, sexy thing.
See, I'd never heard that idea before. With the demon
What?
following you like that.
Michael Myers does that in every Halloween movie to Jamie Lee Curtis or whomever. He's constantly just slowly following and following and following and following.
Oh.
And the idea of jumping from body to body, Jason Voorhees did that in Jason Goes to Hell. Like, so, except for it's passed on by sex
Well,
and
I guess
don't
that's
be
what did it
promiscuous,
then. I guess
that's
that's
the
what did
one
it then.
thing that was
I guess
a twist.
I guess that's what did it for me then. I just thought that was an amazing original thing. I'd never really thought of it that way before, because the slow following in any other one has a main point, which is in
Why
Halloween
does
I'm
Jason
going after
kill
the
random
sister
strangers now?
because they're having sex. That's why.
Well, that's why this is killing. So it's exactly the same, except...
Oh wow. So this is another Friday the 13th. Film theory right there. So there's stuff
that
on
will
the
pop up
screen
on the
here,
screen.
and I'll read it because I know the stuff then. Okay. Fact TV Channel 8, you can watch the show Thursdays at 8:30 and Fridays at 7.
Also, you can email us with movie ideas to watch. You can email us with complaints about the content of our 100th episode special, whatever. I mean, we give zero you-know-whats.
And we will mock you on the TV.
But that email is gorystorytime@yahoo.com.
You can like us on Facebook. You can like Fact TV on Facebook.
And if you're already watching this as a live stream, which I don't know if they were able to do because the internet was all screwy, but if you are, then obviously you've already done that, and good.
Right. You can go follow us on Twitter.
Yep, we don't really have anything to do with this show on our Twitters, but I'm at Craig Jakes, all lowercase, all one word.
I'm at Jason T. Jakes, capital J, capital T, capital J. I don't talk about the show, neither do you really, but we will find a way to offend you.
Absolutely.
That we will make it our duty to offend you if you follow us.
Yes. Anything else that you can think of that we need to...
Nope.
I guess...
Go watch our 100th episode.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.